Hi, this is Rossi Eason from the Restore Black America Foundation, and as you know, I like to do interviews that highlight topics in the 6 areas of the Restore Black America plan. So today I want to dive into the topics of restoring black culture. One of the issues that seems to be a really big topic within our culture is the subject of black hair, whether it be the natural versus weave argument or some of the cultural disparities within the hair care industry or what have you. So I wanted to get a special guest on today by the name of Danielle Hillman. Danielle is from a company / movement called For Black Roots, which is a natural hair, health, and skincare coaching company based around black women's hair, which gives them some alternative education and products as well, in addition to as an alternative to what's available in the marketplace today. So I want to kind of get her on the line to kind of talk about some of these issues and see if we can get to some solutions as well. So without further ado, Danielle, you there?
Yes. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. And thanks for having me on, Rossi.
Yes, no, thank you. Thank you for being on. Now, can we start out, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself as far as your personal history as well as what led you into starting the For Black Roots movement?
Well, absolutely. Before I do that, I just wanted to make one slight correction. You mentioned that we coach for natural women. It's actually for the black family. So men, women, and children, anyone that has black roots. So I just wanted to make that clarification really quick because we don't, everything that we do, we try to do in a holistic fashion, so that includes family as well. Okay. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I am natural. I became natural about 2 years ago completely, where I wasn't doing anything other than being natural. But prior to that, me being a very analytical person, the first thing I did is my research. I needed to understand black hair. I needed to understand myself. I needed to understand what it takes to make sure that we do things in a healthy fashion. So that is just a precursor to how I started to go back. So that's what if I can start the story there. Once I decided to become natural, it was something that I had to understand from a historic sense of myself, from being a young person. When was the last time I knew or had access to my natural hair? And that had to be about 11 years old. So at 11 years old, I got my first perm and chemical treatment in my hair. And that also took me on a journey mentally as to why did I do that? Why did I move away from being in my natural state? And I had to reference back to the area in which I was coming from and in which I had grown up in. And that happened to have been Freeport, Long Island in New York. And it was a very suburban area. And the African-American population in the area was not large whatsoever. So I attended schools with people that didn't look like me, with a majority of people that didn't look like me. And I had to really come to terms with the fact of remembering and understanding that I didn't love my hair. I didn't like what I saw at a young age. And that's at, a very early and formidable time in a young person's life when they're starting to begin socialization in the world at elementary school, you know what I mean? So when I looked at the people around me, I needed to know how I needed to have my hair straight, blonde, and flowing because that was the standard of beauty, so it seemed, So how could I get that? I remember even wanting to change my name from Danielle to Cindy because on the Brady Bunch, that's what I saw. And Marsha had the best hair, right? So that's what, as a young African-American child growing up in a suburban area that was predominantly Caucasian, this is what I witnessed. This is what I saw, and this is what I thought was the standard of beauty. When you looked on TV, all the commercials, that was the standard of beauty. So, of course, we didn't see ourselves or anything representing ourselves. The first opportunity I could talk my father into getting a chemical treatment to what they call relax your hair. Relax, calm down, bring it down, right? Don't have it so wild, right? That's what I wanted to do. And I couldn't wait to do it, and I was excited about it. And I had done that from the age of 11 to the age of 40, 38, somewhere around there, before I started to really understand what I had done, what I was doing, how it could be affecting me, how it affects the young people like me when I was younger, and how it is today, what we're seeing happening with our young people and, the hair issues that they're taking on because they're looking for a standard of beauty that's outside of their own. So that became a very powerful thing to me, and a powerful movement that this was beyond just beauty, that there is a psychological attachment to what we do to ourselves as we chase the so-called standard of beauty. And I don't discount anything. You mentioned the fight between, do I do weaves or do I have natural? And there seems to be like there's the back and forth between that. And I must point out, I love history. Love history. I love history more than I like the blockbusters that are coming out in the movies today, okay? And when you spend some time there and spend some time getting to understand you and who you are and what you come from and what grows out of your head and how impactful and relevant it is to your cultural and spiritual experience in life and here in a society, it's just a beautiful experience. I like to learn that information, chew it up, and be able to teach it and coach our women through it because not many know how to handle their natural hair, even though it's been with them all their lives.
No, most definitely. I was going to say that's actually a perfect segue into my next question because you kind of got into a little bit because I wanted to start right out actually about talking about some of the cultural issues that surround black hair, particularly as it comes to black women. So now we all know that, as you mentioned, a woman's hair and appearance, that's important to any woman. However, it seems like when it comes to black women that there's almost like an obsession sometime when it comes to the point where someone will go without, paying their light bill to get their hair done, or I've seen them spend their whole tax refund on.
We're financing it, the bundles.
Yeah, whatever. Or I've heard of women, not even wanting to work out at all just because they never want to get their hair wet, or whatever the case may be. So from your perspective, why do you think that black women have such an obsession over their hair more so than other races? Is there something historical to that from your perspective?
Because you definitely just said it. You said that every woman, no matter their race, every woman has a pride in their hair. Hair is the thing that the society has dictated represents beauty, right? And every woman, no matter the race, feels a certain stigma about how they look, and that hair is associated with it. Historically, when you look back into like the 1600s when we started to be put into the homes and not just work in the fields but work in the homes, it was necessary for us to tie our hair down. It became a rule for us to tie our hair down. Again, sort of that relaxing thing again, bringing it down. And because of the fact it was different from what we saw with the English women on the plantations, because it was different, it was deemed dirty or kinky or nappy. No, it was just different. So the handling had to be different. So from that point then, it became, if you don't have what I have, as this English woman might have, then it is ugly, it is kinky, it is nappy, it is something to be hidden away. And we don't realize that because we haven't been healed from a lot of the pain that we've experienced in the past that has traveled with us through what we call epigenetic science today, because we don't know that we still carry some of those scars. We still hide our hair away, but just under weave now. That looks like the European standard of beauty.
You're listening to an exclusive interview found on RestoreBlackAmerica.org. That's RestoreBlackAmerica.org.
Wow.
So there is a strong tie that brings us forward. We don't hide it with scarves anymore. We're just going to get the Brazilian, or we're going to get something that looks different or outside of our own. Now, please, I really wanted to be very clear that I don't knock any woman for any style that they choose, because I believe we're beautiful in all styles, whether it's the weaves or the braids or tracks or whatever it is that you're doing. If that makes you feel comfortable within yourself, then absolutely do that. What I like to do is expose you, to give you a different perspective from which to look, because before you hide it, at least know it. We know every other part of our body. We love to say we're real. We're so real. Do you really know what to do with that hair if we didn't have anything else to do with it, or we couldn't walk into a store and purchase something with it? So I like to be able to bring that point to the matter. At least know yourself, and know that our hair culturally has been hidden away, but hidden away for a reason. Do you realize that out of every race group, we can get and copy or duplicate the styles that they have in their hair, but they cannot do that with ours. Ours is unique in its difference in that way, but yet we hide it away because we don't know what to do. So let me be that coach. Let me help you. Let me give you some things that you don't have to do the historical study on, I've done it. You don't have to do the scientific study on, we've done it. You let me in your hair, I'll get in that head. I'll let you know that there's a whole nother spiritual connection that is cultural, that is health-related, that is economic, that is family-based, that is even political. This is up in the politics. I do recall one, I believe it was a senator, said to another senator about having a James Brown wig or something to that. Hair and black hair is even being discussed in the White House. So, yeah, you know, we have to really understand this is a real conversation to be had and a real understanding to come to.
It really is. I like what you said, though, about, you know, you mentioned before you hide it, at least know it. That's a really interesting point. It brings me even to my next question, and you kind of alluded to this as well. Again, everyone seems to have this sort of argument between weave versus natural going on. My question to you is, for the women who wear weaves, is that a reflection of self-hate, or is it just a hairstyle?
I really believe it's an individual issue. And when I say individual issue, some people feel very comfortable in themselves, know their hair, know how they feel comfortable looking, and choose to wear that style just because it's a style and it's different. And that's what they choose to do. Some women choose to do it because they have no clue what to do with their natural hair. They have no idea what to do other than braid it down and put something on top of it. So because of that fact, if they knew better, you know the old cliche, if you know better, you do better.
You do better, right.
So instead of just settling and boxing ourselves in, why don't we take the time? Because you'll love it. Believe me, you'll love it. When you start to slow down and understand and see what your natural hair does and how it grows, most of us believe we shouldn't even put water in our hair every day. That's why we don't go work out, because of that sweat thing. But if you were natural, that wouldn't be an issue, boo. Not whatsoever. You'd understand that you have to put water in your hair every day. We're like plants that grow up from the ground like God. And our hair does the same out of our hair soil. But we don't know that because our media hasn't expressed that to us. Our television programs, you walk into a beauty supply store, they're not going to tell you any of that. So what standard of beauty are we really chasing?
Most definitely. And that's really interesting what you said about women wetting their hair every day, because most women, they run from that water. They run from that water.
They won't get in the pool. Won't get in the pool.
They won't get in the pool. They won't go outside if it looks like it's going to rain,
Oh, I'm not even outside. I don't even need an umbrella, and I won't lose my style. Promise you. Because your hair needs water. I put at least 3 times a day, I'm not saturating my hair, but I'm moisturizing my hair with a spray bottle, especially in the summer. And it grows exponentially. You have no idea what it does.
And that's funny you said that, because I was going to ask you that. One thing I want to touch on, for example, like I know, and this is something I remember distinctly, like when I was growing up, let's say someone like Snoop Dogg would come on TV and he would wear his hair out and, it would be all permed out or whatever. And I remember, chicks used to get mad and they would make statements like, well, damn, his hair is longer than mine. Or, you see a lot of men, they have braids or whatever, and they take their hair out and their hair is all long or what have you. And then you have a lot of women that can't seem to grow their hair past a few inches off their head. A lot of times, even some who wear weaves or what have you, once they take that out, they may not have much hair under that at all. So that was going to be my question. Why do you think black women have such a hard time growing their hair? Does it have to do with the fact that they're not wetting it enough, from your perspective, or what are some of those issues?
It's not even just about wetting it. It's about the care of it, because when I say wet it, I don't just wet it with plain water. There's a mixture in the water that conditions it as well. What we have had happen is a situation where we've been not taught anything about how our hair grows, what it takes to make sure that it stays healthy so that it can grow. I reference the plant because if you don't have a green thumb and someone brings a plant into your home, you don't know how to care for it. You don't know what to feed it. You don't know when to water it, when the sun should hit it, when it shouldn't. You don't know anything about it. That plant is sure to die. So even though you still have hair follicles, your hair will still be present on your hair, but it won't grow if you don't know what to do. If no one has sat down and told you that there are 3 things that we need to know about our hair before we do anything, before we purchase a product. Why are you purchasing any particular product and you don't know what your hair appreciates, works with, does? So in our coaching, the first thing that we do, and we ask everybody, what is your hair type, pattern, and porosity? Do you know those 3 things? Do you know why you need to know those 3 things? Type, pattern, and porosity. We have multiple types, different patterns, different porosities. Some people have 2 and 3 patterns in their hair. Those things matter because that matters as far as absorption. That's the science of it. But we don't spend enough time with ourselves, and no one has given us a lot of time to spend with ourselves to really understand that. We just pointed to something else and said, that's what's beautiful. Worry about that. Because, again, in the area of economics, that is a $7 billion industry, the black hair care product industry. And that's not even including the product. That's just the hair that black women purchase alone. So there's an area of that market that is not even being calculated. And there is strong revenues and profits that are made for our lack of knowledge. If you only knew that all you needed was some water, some oil, and some cream to put in your hair every day, 3 times a day, or as many times a day as your hair may require, but you have to slow down enough time to understand your hair to get that. If you knew that, and you knew that your hair would grow down past your bra strap within about a 3 to 6 month time period, if you followed a daily routine on that, like you follow a daily routine to bathe, see, it's what you don't know. And that's why it's so important. I'm so bothered by the fact that there's no one or there's nothing out here that helps us to know that, to teach our babies that, to teach our men that. And like you said, the men cut their hair way more often than we cut ours as black women. Remember, we're trying to grow it, right? So black women that don't know what to actually do in order to gain those results, they hide it. They cover it up. They will braid it until it is back past their ear. They will do anything they can to not have to deal with their natural, while men will wear their natural out. They will wash their hair regularly in the shower so it gets moisture. They will cut it frequently so there are no dead ends and things that you're trying to hold on to that's actually damaging the hair as it's trying to grow. So that's why our men, we can look at them like, oh, he's got better hair than me. No, it's not that. He just is doing something different from you. That's why you need to know.
Mm-hmm. Now, thank you for making that distinction, because I don't think a lot of people know that. That's a statement that you will hear a lot from women. So I wanted to bring that up to find out what that distinction was. So thank you for shedding some light on that. But I do want to jump back to something you mentioned too about us not really having the knowledge of what to do. Like everything else, from your language to your hygiene, including how you take care of your hair, all that's typically passed down from your parents. But if they don't know something, or maybe they're not going about it properly,
Right.
They can't really train you on how to do things properly. So what do you think we could do to help change the culture of how black hair is treated?
The one thing we can do is start paying attention to it. We can start paying attention to the fact that there is an alternative outside of weaves and glues and things that you have to add to your natural hair. That there needs to be a basis of hair on your head to even add anything to. So how can we get to understanding that and coming out in that particular beauty? I think that first this is way deeper than just let's have a conversation. This is a life transformation. It's very important that you understand. We live in a society that has made our hair an issue and a negative issue. You cannot go into certain jobs and work in certain corporate arenas in natural hair. So it's made to be felt as if it's not a good thing. It's bad. And that starts from very young, from the dolls that we bought and we play with, from things that our parents even say, with your nappy-headed self. Get over here with your nappy-headed self. And not understanding the seeds that are being planted, even though we think it's in love and in jest. No, there's a seed being planted in there. Because while you're calling me my nappy-headed self at 4 and 5 years old, and I'm looking at the TV and all I see is Miley with the long blonde hair, there is a psychological thing that goes on, and I grow up with that, and I become a woman with that, and I become a mother with that. And therefore, I spread that. So, and then if it's brought to me, if someone says to me, even someone that looks like me says, well, listen, have you ever tried your, natural hair? Oh, there you go with that black power stuff. It's automatically refuted. Because not long ago, when Beyonce was at the Super Bowl and did a thing around Black Panthers, and they adorned afros, oh, it was black power. Black power is associated with negativity and rebellion and everything I don't want to be. I'm trying to assimilate. I'm trying to get comfortable in corporate America. So I don't want to have that conversation, and I don't want to have that with my daughter. So there's a wall of stereotypes and misconceptions that needs to be broken for these transformations to even happen. This is not just a coaching business. There's a movement that's attached to it, because there has to be an understanding amongst the people that when someone talks to you about your hair, and that it's not an attack. It's not an attack on beauticians that deal with chemical treatments. This is not an attack on you. This is an embracing of loving ourselves and understanding ourselves. Break that defense wall down. There was something that started back in 1712. If I'm not mistaken, Willie Lynch theory, that people say, oh, that was just a whisper. Whether it was a whisper or a real story or not, the content was very real. And what we see today is very real. You spoke about it in Restore Black America. So you understand how real that is. Well, that all ties into black hair as well. This is way deeper than just a conversation.
No, that's a really deep answer. Now, I do want to shift over to economics for a second. You mentioned beauticians. When it comes to the hair care industry, one thing that we all notice, as much money as, again, black women in particular spend on their hair. There seems to be a plethora of black beauty salons. However, when it comes to actual hair care products, it seems to be almost exclusively dominated by those outside of our culture, particularly the Asian community. So from your understanding, why does this dynamic exist, and what can we do to change it?
The dynamic exists because of the fact of, it exists because of something that was being established long ago. Again, this is, the black hair industry is just one of many where many things that come from our culture get dominated by race groups outside of our culture. So this is just one thing that we've kind of submitted to, again, in allowing, again, through the not knowing. Without us knowing, we have people telling us what we need to do with our hair because you don't know what to do with it, right? Mm-hmm. So come on in this store, buy this stuff because the stuff on the shelf is the stuff you saw in the commercial, which is the stuff of the people who hired you at your job look like and they buy, so you're going to need to do this. So just come on in my store, and now this is what we have. Versus if you understood that it would probably cost you someone that would spend, say, $100 at the local beauty supply store. If you knew what you were doing, if you knew those answers to those 3 questions, and you had an interest in living more healthy, a more health-based lifestyle, then you would spend about $25 over the course of 3 months versus that $100 experience on Saturday morning every 2-3 weeks.
Wow.
If you knew better. So, one, I'm not trying to take money from the market. I'm trying to educate people in understanding that we don't have to spend this kind of money to put poison on ourselves, to do things that's slowly killing us, because there are toxins added in these chemicals. And there are proven scientific evidence-based effects that show that what we are voluntarily purchasing and putting on our bodies is not to our benefit. It may be to your quote-unquote beauty, depending on the standard of beauty you're chasing, but it is definitely not to your benefit. So when do we have that conversation? And when do we stop you, the adult, from transcending that same practice down to your children?
Wow, that's deep. That's really deep. And I want to ask you this too. When it comes to the the business side of the hair care industry, very similar to how you sort of had the the natural versus weave argument or whatever. You seem to almost have the conscious versus capitalist argument going on, where you have one side that feels that we just need to cater strictly to the natural side of things. And then you have the other side that says, just go ahead and sell the people what they want. For example, I remember reading a story as far back as Madam C.J. Walker and Marcus Garvey having an issue because I believe she wanted to advertise in his paper, and he wouldn't let her because he felt that it was destructive to tell women to straighten their hair. And her argument was, well, there's a demand for it. I'm just tapping into it. So my question to you is, as we're trying to expand our economic presence within the black hair care industry, how far do we take our cultural responsibility? Is selling weaves and hair straightening products considered destructive, or is it just a part of what women are going to do anyway, so we should just give them what they want? What is your take on that?
I, again, think it needs to be a consumer beware, awareness about what you're doing. If you just want to sell the product and you want to make money, that's exactly what and this is no disrespect to Madam C.J. Walker and her accomplishments and contributions to our culture. What she was doing was exactly the capitalistic area. This is what the people want. This is what I'm going to sell. Because, again, in our society, the standard of beauty is represented under those products. So somebody's going to make money off of it. Why not me? However, if you knew better, you would do better. Heat and straightening is not the best benefit for our hair, not if you're looking to grow it. Most women that use perms don't still have much length that grows unless they're going to a salon and getting it done every day. But if you're doing your own hair, 9 times out of 10, you probably won't get it to grow past bra length, even though you're perming. Because, again, it's not meant to grow. It's meant to relax. So if you still don't know how to grow your hair is still not going to grow. So on top of the fact that not only is it not growing, it's just straight. And with it being straight, that chemical is getting into your scalp, which is very porous, which is soaking up anything you put onto it. It's going into your body, into your bloodstream. So while you're spending that dollar to get that straight look, you're also slowly poisoning yourself. And with women, it has been found that those chemicals are seeming to reside somewhere in the area of our reproductive organs, where fibroids and things that you deal with in a medical aspect as you get older because you've had longer lengths of exposure to that chemical. So, yes, if you would like to go ahead and pad the person's pocket because they are going to get that dollar, if you want to buy it, come get it. Absolutely. What I find also is that it's really scary because women will perm their hair and then buy weave or lace fronts or sew-ins to put over it, which weakens the hair that much more, which breaks it apart, and then you start having that balding scalp, that traction alopecia is what it really is called, where your hair starts to recede and then it looks like somebody snatched it out. And then, that's now embarrassing. So what do? Go buy more. Go pad that dollar in that capitalistic, platform. Go pad that dollar again to further damage my hair for the standard of beauty that I'm chasing. But when I take this off, I have a problem. Not only when I take this off, as I'm growing up, internally, that I can't see, I have a problem that I'm personally creating. So that is what I believe Marcus Garvey's true argument was with Madam C.J. Walker, not so much as the scientific aspect, but the assimilation aspect. Why would we have to break down our look to be able to do the work that we do? We're just as smart, ingenious. We're moved just like anybody else. Why would we have to change our appearance from who we are? So I truly believe it's an individualistic mindset. If you knew better, you would do better, but at least know so you could know what you want to do for your life. Maybe even if you knew all the science behind being natural, you'd say, well, listen, I just want to still get my perm and I still want to do these things over here to the left. Then that is your choice, but at least you were making an informed choice. We're not doing that. And what's so scary is if anybody tries to introduce this information, it's almost refuted before you can get it out your mouth. So it all depends on the individual, where they are in their life, what their emotional maturity is in understanding this kind of conversation at this level. So, yeah, it has a lot of dynamics. If you want to make money, absolutely. But I said that we can make money, not charge our people as much, and do it where we're not poisoning them. That's what we do. Now, if you want to learn that, we got you all day.
Okay, I hear that. I like that conscious capitalism more so is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
You can still make your money, but, at the same time, you can uplift your people as well. So I like that. Well, you seem to have a lot of really good insight and interesting perspectives on black hair. Can you tell me a little bit more about For Black Roots? What exactly is it, and how do some of your programs work?
Absolutely. Okay, so For Black Roots. First, let me tell you, you mentioned Marcus Garvey. For Black Roots is a company that was built from the premise of his quote. He has a famous quote, and we use this quote and we speak about this quote because this is something that helped us formulate why we do what we do and how we're going to get to what we're getting to. Okay, I'm trying to get to space. If you give me just a second, I want to make sure I say it right. Marcus Garvey made a quote that said, "A people without knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots." Marcus M. Garvey. Now, my colleagues and I, before, as we were talking about formulating a business, we by profession are life coaches. Having been life coaches, there's a lot of things that we learn, study, research, and spend time to understand about human behavior, psychology, sociology. There's things that we take the time to understand about not force-feeding people, letting them get information and make an informed choice for themselves that benefits their lives, right? So as we were one day sitting out, and we would always share information back and forth on the hair products that we made ourselves out of natural products, how it was working in our hair. Oh, did you check this out? It smells great. We started sharing those things, and we were talking about nation-building time at the same time, that we're at a space that we need to start our own businesses and getting things up and moving. So with those thought parameters moving between us, we were like, listen, we could start a hair coaching business. I don't style hair, you don't style hair, but with all the knowledge that we have between us, all the capabilities we have between us, all the proven work we have between us, we can, pretty much get people to learn about themselves, create a product, put it on the market just so that they can tap in, because people love, that's what they want more than the information. Give me the product. Give me the product. So if we can mix the two, how would we do that? So we talked about formulating a business structure, where we can train and do workshops, get groups of women, men, children, families, whomever. Let's talk about this because it's deeper than just the look of our hair. This is about the health of our lives. This is about educating our children so they know how to love themselves before they're almost conditioned out of knots. So we came up with, well, in order to have something like this, we have to have a name. We have to have a name. So as I go into my mentoring, I'm thinking about a name. I'm thinking about nation building. I'm thinking about Marcus Garvey. I'm thinking about this quote where he's talking about having a knowledge of our past history, our origin, our culture, our hair. Our hair is cultural. This sets us apart from the groups, other race groups, and not in a negative way. Again, apart doesn't mean negative. It's just different. Different is unique. Unique is special if you embrace it that way. So how do we get to that? So this is how my mind is traveling, okay? And we come to, well, out of us, it was 4 of us women that were constantly working together and talking about it. When I thought 4 women, I thought of 4 little girls. We were little girls before we were women. And this is when my issues started with my hair, when I was a little girl. So 4 little girls. And when I thought 4 little girls, I thought Dr. King. When I thought Dr. King, I thought Birmingham, the 4 little girls of Birmingham. I thought the 4 little girls of Birmingham are all black females, that if they had an opportunity to grow and educate and share, maybe this would be them. So when I thought 4 little girls, I said 4, and it's for us. It's for us specifically, so 4 black. And when I think of that tree and us being rooted in our hairs and the roots of our hair, it's all related. 4 black roots. There it is.
All right. I like that.
And that's how we got
and,
that.
And what kind of programs do you have? Do you have things that are available for both consumers and salons as well?
We do. What we do is, again, because of the fact that we are not coming in to be a wedge or to be a thorn in anyone's side, we said, how do we enter a market that is thriving as much as it is and be a collaborative partner, not a competitor? See, under the capitalistic mindset, we are the first thing in business, we want to find who our competitors are, right? But when you're looking from, say, an Afrocentric mindset, you're looking at collectivism. Who can my partner be? Okay? So when I look at the salons, my client would be their client. But how can I provide a service, especially to our salons, that would help them retain their clients, churn and show love to their clients when their clients aren't coming in their door? Meanwhile, be a referral source from the people that we're marketing to in our target market to go to those salons once they're trusted and say, well, they do natural hair. So how can we work collaboratively for the same client, still growing in business, and giving them healthy education? See, a lot of salons, so I did my research there, so I spoke with a few salon owners, and they kept saying, well, the issue that we have is that, we have people walk in the door and they want to be Beyonce, and that's not what they have going on their head. So they normally have to cover it up. So, again, for someone like us to come in and educate them on how to properly care for their hair, so even if you want the quote-unquote Beyonce look, At least when you take it out, you still have your natural hair. It's still growing. It's still healthy. And your beautician has a healthy bed to work from. So this is how we benefit together. How do we think in a collective mindset in business? So, yes, we have a program called our Extended Roots program, where we look for master barbers and beauticians, stylists that have the ability to care for natural hair, have a working understanding of it, and know how to style it, even if it's for the professional arena, so that you can still have the natural ability but the professional look. So that's what we look for, and we look to bond with those salons and barbershops so that wherever our clients are coming from, we can find someone in your area, so we benefit each other. As far as programs, we do a lot of work in the social and community area. So we do workshops for the schools. We do motivational speaking for the schools in the area of hair, and as well as whatever life skill-related issues. 4 Black Roots will come out and speak with you about it. Then we'll talk about other things about loving ourselves through our hair. We also have pamper parties where through our workshops, if you'd like to have a pamper party, meaning we'll come to you. It's about, our workshop is an hour and a half. It'll be on the topic of your choice. We have select topics that people can understand. Why should I go natural? What is the benefit? What is a daily routine that I can pick up once I do? What is the cost savings? And how is it affecting me economically by not being natural? So we just give that awareness and that information. All of that comes in that 1 hour and an hour and a half session. And plus we bring samples of supplies where you can learn to use natural products. And not only to put on your hair, some of the products that we use are actually products you can cook with. So you're getting double the impact, which helps with growth and retention. But you'd have to know that. So we teach those things within that hour and a half time frame at your location in a comfort area. Now, some people don't like to be in their homes, so we'll do the pamper party, which we'll find a location and we'll bring you to. And we pamper you for that time that you're there. So we do this whether it's for women groups, it may be for the family. You might have a family reunion. You might have a girls' night, anything. It might be a husband and wife. How can we pamper each other utilizing these hair oils, skin oils, and more? So we have several different programs spinning. We work with college youth on coaching the coaches. So any college youth that would like to learn how to become a coach, like I or my team members, we teach them for a reduced rate. If you get us a room full of college reps, we'll come in and coach you on how to be your own coaches so you know how to care for your own hair and not have to spend any money because now you're making your own product.
Okay, wow, that sounds interesting. Thank you for sharing that. So if anyone listening to this wanted to get in touch with you or find out, get more information about 4 Black Roots, could you give out your information as to where they can get more info on the 4 Black Roots program?
Absolutely. So they can visit our website at www.4blackroots.com and check us out there. Myself, I am the lead coach and top coach for 4 Black Roots, and I can be reached at my phone number, which is 470-485-7668. Again, 470-485-7668. And my email, 4blackroots@gmail.com, and that's the number, 4blackroots@gmail.com.
Okay, great. And could you give that website address again? Is it the number 4, or is it 4 actually spelled out?
It's the number 4. Everything is the number 4. So it is www.4blackroots.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Danielle. I really appreciate the information
thank you.
shared. I think this is going to be an awesome interview, and it's going to change a lot of lives. So thanks again.
I appreciate it, and you take care.
All right. Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
What's going on, everybody? This is Rossi Eason, founder of the Restore Black America Foundation and author of the Restore Black America book. And you know how this whole thing came about, man, is real interesting. Years ago, I had a friend of mine introduce me to something called the Willie Lynch letter. And if you don't know what that is, it was actually a transcript of a speech given at a slave owners convention. And it talked about how to control black people, not through force, but through psychology, talking about putting old against young, light skin against dark skin, male against female. And it pretty much outlines all of the problems that we have today. So when I read this plan and I said, if this is a plan to destroy black people, if I reverse engineer this, could we create a plan to rebuild the black community? Hence the term Restore Black America. So this book is actually broken down into a 6-step action plan that outlines a restoration process for the next 100 years. Those 6 steps are culture, economics, family, politics, health, and spirituality. And the way the whole premise goes is that this letter was actually written in 1712, and it said that if you actually put this plan in place, that you'll be able to control black people for the next 300 years. 2012 was actually the end of that 300-year mark. When I wrote this book, it came out in 2013, which is the first year after that 300-year mark. I founded the Restore Black America Foundation as a way to actually implement this 100-year plan. Not only to give people the information, but the actual tools in order to make a change. So basically what I've done is put this book together in a 100-year plan for the black community. Restore Black America is more than just a book. It's more than just a foundation. It's an entire movement sweeping across the black community. So be sure to stay tuned for our documentary as we outline the 6-step action plan for restoring Black America and taking our culture back. Holla.